Tactical 40K here again. We just got something in the mail. This guy, DeathWing Assault. What do you get? You get a lot of stuff. You've probably already seen it in a lot of different videos. Codex is cool. The lore in it is awesome. It's fun read. Dark Angel's first it was my first army. Sweet. Then pictures of all these guys, how to paint, the new combat patrol. If you haven't seen that, that's interesting because now you're getting Blade Guard vets, Hellblasters, the Intercessors, a Tin Brick, and then a Gravis Captain. Picture of those dudes. So that's true. Let's get to the meat because we're talking about competitive tactical stuff. Typically, I'm a Raven Guard player, and I am, but I have a soft spot for the Dark Angels in particular because they're my first army. I don't think it's as bad as it's being portrayed, the Codex itself. I think it is bad if you look at it from certain units from the index and from what the Dark Angels should kind of be. But when we're looking at it from a competitive standpoint, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, how do we get around this? How do we work with these? Yes, Lionel Johnson. -1 the wound is gone. That sucks. His sweep attack goes to 1 damage, even though his strike attack is 4 damage. It seems like a steep drop considering the relationship between the attacks from, going to 16. When you look at the Emperor's Shield, you'd think that that'd be a -1 to wound because it's the Emperor's Shield. You look at Roberto's sword, and he's got the Emperor's sword and all that jazz that he's got going on there. But the one thing that depending on his points, now points will matter with him. There's one thing he has that Roberto doesn't. 1, the 3-up invul. 2 and 3 that are pertaining to me. Deep Strike and Fights First. That's meaningful. That's meaningful. The other thing I'm looking at is the inner circle companions with people have beaten them up. I understand that. Yes, the AP sucks on their weapons, but they do get you can choose between lethals and sustain 2. They do have a heavy bolter. There is some things when it comes to like attacking units with characters in them that there's pretty sweet. Now here's what you do. Now the chief complaint for most people, not just the AP on the weapons or whatever, but the lacking of an invulnerable save. Yes, that sucks. But so what does that tell me? Well, they're begging to be attached to Ezreal. They have that extra strength. That 6. Strength 6 is kind of like this breaking point when you go because you have the Blade Guard vets, right? And you got 5 to 2. You go to 6 though, and now you're hitting a breaking point on a lot of armies where you're going 1 on some of the like weaker people's strength, the toughness 3s, now you're on 2s, now toughness 5, now you're on 3s. Yeah, the AP sucks. There's ways to get AP, but you might have not run one of these attachments. But then you attach these guys to Ezreal or whatever. There's ways to play them, and they are another unit that's going to be about points. Because what do you take them or Blade Guard vets, or do you just go run the plasma dudes or Hellblasters with Ezreal? Because I don't think I'd run those alone. I want the invul, and Ezreal gives them that with the Lion's Helm. Okay, we look at some of these other dudes. That's a DeathWing. I mean, you can go look at it. The more interesting people to me, besides the ones I just mentioned, Ezreal and the Lion and Inner Circle Companions. Not some of the Ezekiel seems semi-interesting as well with Blade Guard vets. Maybe the Inner Circle Companions. It just depends, but once again, you don't really have that making them a little more tankier. There's ways to play them though, but those guys are kind of cool, and I don't want to get too far into them. The guy that's really interesting to me is Samuel. He's always been kind of interesting to me. He's interesting. He did get nerfed, and a lot of people just lost this. He got nerfed because if you look at the index, he can actually get attached to the command squad there. Now imagine attaching him to the command squad with a champion and apothecary, and then also having some other units. I was thinking that, I was like, oh man, this could be good with that Ravenwing detachment or whatever, Stormlance or whatever detachment. And we can go into my theory on detachments later, because I'm like, well, does this amplify him? Does this complement a detachment? Because this guy advances and charges and advances, shoots and whatever. But they took that away, so now he can just be attached by to an Outrider squad and a Ravenwing Black Knight squad. Is that all bad? No. It sucks that they reduced that he can't be part of the Ravenwing Command Squad, but they also made the Ravenwing Command Squad a character unit, which I believe means you can get, you should be able to put enhancements on them. Which I was thinking that when I was like attaching him, put an enhancement, and you pull him up on the board anywhere, that'd be kind of cool. We go over to the term, now granted we've lost units in this, and everybody's talked about Town Master's gone, some of this other stuff. We've lost units in this thing. What was the other thing that's interesting with the Ravenwing side? Landspeeder Vengeance, or whatever you want to call this thing. Having a hazardous plasma shot that's not damage 3 seems just insane. But it is D6 blast, twin length, 9-3. It's 9-3-2 on the hazardous profile, 8-2-1 on the normal profile. To me, they ought to have bumped that up. It's a giant plasma gun on a speeder. That doesn't make any sense to me. But it is what it is. If it's priced right, it's not a bad unit. It moves quickly, twin length stuff. I mean, it doesn't look like that bad a unit. There's a few things that are cool about that. Ravenwing have some cool aircraft, which I like, those guys. The bikers, I mean, like I said, having the Ravenwing Command Squad, you got that, it's a pretty decent melee, some pretty good firepower. It's priced right, we're in the ball game. Now we get to the Terminator squads. They took away the Terminator Command Squad, which sucks. But these Terminators here have the original Terminator 10th edition, ignore modifier thing, which that's cool. Plus they get the teleport armor and they got the Watcher in the Dark. Now, so they have the best Terminators in the game. Now, are Terminators that great? Well, we can talk about that, but they're not bad. The Deathwing Knights got their weapons nerfed, obviously. It went from a damage 2 to a damage 3 to a damage 2 on their Mace of Absolution, which sucks. I would have taken the lack of damage if they bumped the C or the AP up on that. But it is a strength 6, and they are hitting on 2s. So you have to do a little math on whether you take the power weapon, the 6-2-1 profile, or the 6-1-2 profile, and whether you want the AP or not, the extra AP. So that is detachment dependent. If you're running these Dark Angel detachments where it's hard to get that lance, then maybe you look at the power weapon. But when you look at overall damage, the mace might still be the way to go. And I haven't quite broke down the math anyway, but they still have -1 damage in 2-4. Now they are not, people are saying that they're points dependent whether they're going to be good. To me, you can price some of these units as cheap as you want and it doesn't matter. Or it does matter there's a ceiling on how high you can go. So 290, what they have in the book, is just absolutely insanity. But the only way, it doesn't make the unit good if you underprice them. It just makes you be able to take other units. Because in this case, you can only take 3 of this unit anyway. And you can't take 10 bricks anymore. You can only take 5s. So no matter what they're priced at, the max you can take is 15, no matter how. So if you price them at 100, let's just say, you still can only take 15 of them. It just allows you to allocate those points in other directions. So I'm not convinced on this whole point thing with the Knights. The Knights have a play still, and they can be used. Everybody I see on stream is throwing them around so far. We really haven't seen anybody tactically use them in a proficient way so far. And we'll see that. The other interesting character is kind of Lazarus. I kind of like him as well. But anyway, we're looking. There's some key units in here. Like I said, the detachments. A lot of people are talking about the inner circle detachment. It is cool. You got a deep strike turn 1. 3. It can be 3 inches. That's awesome. That's cool. But you have units that do that already. That with Inceptors, which is fine. You'd like to have those capabilities because it gives you flexibility, right? I think the Unforgiven task force has been underplayed. I think that it's actually pretty good when you look at scoring, right? We look at the ability to score objectives, even if you're battle shocked, like you're playing Tyranids and they knock you, still got, objective 1. You have ability to get lethal hits as a battle tactic stratagem. So you could be running without a biologist. If you want the biologist for the OC, that's cool. If you're running that aggressor brick, you have things in here that allow you to do cool things in Unforgiven Task Force. I don't know why everybody's hated it so much. I guess because a lot of the things aren't really amped up until you are battle shocked. So Inner Circle, though, yeah, the deep strike stuff, that's cool. I'm not sure. Everybody's seen the DeathWing. You get the keyword. I'm not so certain on that. I mean, you look at the profiles, yeah, like Azrael has the keyword DeathWing, so you can give it to certain units for sure, for sure. There is some cool things in there. One of the stratagems I really love in here is the ability to consolidate and up to 6 inches. That's super awesome because you think about, or pile on and consolidate up 6 inches. That's awesome. The other thing being, or it says additional 3 inches. That's awesome. The vowed target thing is awesome, or it's great. But everybody's talked about the Inner Circle, but I haven't seen anybody really play it very well. But it is a very mobile task or detachment. It's good. It aligns with the kind of things that I like to do. But now I got to think, what do we put in here besides these Terminators that can utilize this stuff, or patch the weaknesses of it? Because that's the way I look at detachments. Like that's why Vanguard Spearhead, you don't see a lot of Phobos stuff, even though it's tailored to it, is because what it does is it patches some of the weaknesses of these other units to an extent where it makes them super effective. And I'm trying to build my Raven Guard list more Raven Guardy. I know I did the last one. It's undefeated. This other list isn't so Raven Guard. It has Caven in it though, but it doesn't have any Phobos people. So I was trying to see if I can take that captain, the Gravis captain out, put that in. But anyways, get out of there. Company of Hunters, Raven Wing side. This one is pretty awesome too. I like it. You got a turn 1 rep or reserve coming in. You can do that. There's some good -1 to hit strats that are battle tactics. There is a rapid reappraisal. You pull people off and put them somewhere else. Battle tactic. So there's a couple of battle tactic ones that are pretty interesting if you can get somebody that has ability to use a strat for free, which I don't know if we can right now. I don't know if we have captains on bikes anymore. We don't, I don't think, but it would be cool if we did, because some of these battle tactics look pretty sweet. You have some battle shock shenanigans. You have scout shenanigans with enhancements. These are not bad. These are not bad. So you got advance and shoot. So there's a lot of things, and Outriders are battle lines. So that's a cool thing. So they actually changed that. So you can run a bunch of bikes. You can spam the bikes, my friend, and just do all kinds of shenanigans. And the bikes aren't that bad. I mean, Outriders, not really the greatest thing in the world, but the Raven Wing Black Knights, granted, they're not going to be battle line, but you have those guys that get plasmas and not bad melee. I think it's 5/2/2 on some of their stuff, but if you supplement them with the command squad and you got that champion, you have an apothecary there that brings them back. I mean, you're not looking that bad. So I'm going to be looking at these attachments. I'm going to be putting together a Dark Angels army as well. I already got Ezreal. I got the Blade Guard. My Blade Guard veterans that are painted in the DeathWing color. But I'm running him in my Raven Guard right now too. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. We'll have some more stuff. I'll probably go over my list that's so far undefeated. And we need to play it some more. But it's slightly interesting. It's like kind of a combination. You guys already might know what it is a little bit. But because I've alluded to having that Gravis captain with the Ghost Weave Cloak. And I'm kind of trying to replace him. But it's a combined arms list. I mean, I have indirect fire, maneuver elements that are there to interdict enemy movements, enemies that are elements that are main efforts that take control of board position, and elements that support them and move around and score. And it's not the cookie cutter list that everybody's taking, so it's interesting. I'll talk to you later. Peace.